Hey, welcome back to Sunday evening time for our psalm. We're on number 74 as we plow through the psalms here just one at a time. This is a psalm, it's a complaint. Asaph's making it says a maskil of Asaph. Asaph, my maskil's a instructive teaching psalm. Uh, it seems to me like it's just a prayer of Asaph's to God, asking God, why? You ever been like that? Why, God? I don't understand. And it may be a psalm about the time that the Babylonians came in and destroyed the temple of Israel and carried them away captive, and they remained down there, remember, for 70 years before they got to come home. And this may have been at the beginning of it here, because it sounds like what Asaph's talking to us about here. He says, verse 1, Psalm 74, O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? God, why are you mad at us? Is this forever? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased. I hope you're part of the congregation of the Lord that's been purchased with the not corruptible silver or gold, but by the precious blood of Christ. Remember your congregation which you've purchased of old, the rod of thy inheritance which thou hast redeemed. That's a Christian language for us Christians, ain't it? We've been redeemed. We sing a song, I've been redeemed. You may think of it when you cut out coupons and go to the store to redeem something. It has to do with business, buying back. Jesus redeemed us. He bought us back from the devil because the devil had captured us. This Mount Zion, where the temple was, wherein thou hast dwelt, verse 3. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolation. Look at all this destruction forever. Even all that the enemy hath done wickedly in the sanctuary. He's destroyed the temple. To make it Christian, we could say, you know what? The enemy of the church is often already within the sanctuary, and the enemy is sitting right there in the congregation. Sometimes the enemies of God's people, and they're pretending to be sheep, but they're wolves in that sheep's clothing, aren't they? A man was famous according as he had lifted up axes upon thick trees, but now they lift up these axes and they break down the carved work thereof at once with axes and hammers. The destroyers come. They've cast fire into the sanctuary. They lit the church on fire. They've defiled by casting down the dwelling place of thy name to the ground. They've destroyed the temple. They said in their hearts, because that's where sin always starts, let us destroy them together. They've burned up all the synagogues of God in the land. Everywhere people were gathering to worship God, they've destroyed all that. That's what the devil does. You know, when communism came into Russia years ago, the first thing they did is to tear down all the churches, because socialist communism, the devil knows that its greatest enemy is Christianity. We see not our signs. There's no more any prophet. Our preachers are gone. Neither is there any of us that knows how long. How long, Lord, is this going to be? You ask again in verse 10. Oh God, how long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Is there any end to this? Why withdrawest thou thy hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out of your bosom. He says, God, are you sitting there with your hands on your chest? Get out here and do something, God. For God's my king of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. And then he remembers how God's done great things that people couldn't have imagined in the past. And I think Asaph's faith starting to talk. So I know God's going to handle this somehow. And I don't know how yet, but I know he thought back to ancient Israel. He said, you did divide the sea by thy strength. When they didn't see any way of escape, God opened the sea and let them go on dry land. Thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the waters. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces. You read more about Leviathan in Job. Sometimes people say, well, how come the Bible don't talk about dinosaurs? It does. It don't use the word dinosaur because that's a new word that just come along in the 1800s. But it uses behemoth and Leviathan, which you can read about in the waning chapters of Job, in very descriptive forms. One of them's a big dinosaur on the land, the other's a dinosaur in the ocean, and that's Leviathan's his name. You're breaking heads. He said, I remember what you did to old Leviathan. You broke him in pieces, and the people had a big barbecue. You gave him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou didst cleave the fountain and the flood. Thou dried up the mighty rivers. God, you've done great things in the past. The day's thine, the night's thine. You've prepared the light and the sun. You're the creator. Remember this, that the enemy hath reproached, O Lord, and that the foolish people have blasphemed thy name. Oh, deliver not the soul of thy turtle dove into the multitude of the wicked. I think turtle, he's talking about Israel here. Remember, we're just your pet, Lord. Don't let the wicked have us. Forget not the congregation of thy poor forever. Don't forget us forever, God. Have respect to the covenant, and God always will. He made a covenant deal with us through Jesus Christ, didn't he? He says he's reminding him of the covenant. God ain't going to forget it, but it's good for us to remind God sometimes, or remind ourselves that have respect to the covenant that we made. For the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. And there's still a lot of dark places in this world, ain't there? And that's the problem. Jesus said men love darkness more than they love light. But if you come to the light, there's your hope. Oh, let not the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and the needy praise thy name. Arise, O God. Another way of saying arise is get up. Get up, God. Plead thine own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproacheth thee daily. Forget not the voice of thine enemies. The tumult of those that rise up against thee increases continually. Says the evil men will wax worse and worse, like Paul said. But he said, don't forget about them, God. You can rest assured, God will not forget about the enemy. And our great enemy, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual wickedness in high places. So remember that. It's good to be on the winning team in the end, even when it looks rough down here at times, and you know that you're just in a small minority, and the evil increases continually. I'm going to stick with God, because if it's just me and God, we're still a majority, ain't we? See you next time.